A study shows Western Mass has the highest level of food insecurity in all of Massachusetts. Western Mass News reporter Reagan Lockery is getting answers on why that is and what's being done to combat the issue.
This report demonstrates yet again that households in Western Massachusetts are having a harder time of being able to put food on the table.
The Greater Boston Food Bank recently came out with a statewide study in collaboration with Mass General Brigham. The findings show in 2022, Western Massachusetts had the highest rates of food insecurity in the state with 41%. Also on a statewide level, 1 in 3 households in Massachusetts experienced child-level food insecurity, meaning the child was either hungry, skipped a meal, or did not eat for a whole day because there wasn't enough money for food. Western Mass News spoke with Andrew Morehouse, Executive Director of the Food Bank of Western Mass. He tells us this has been a continuous pattern in our state's history.
Western Massachusetts is farther from the center of power, up on Beacon Hill, our population is smaller relative to Eastern Massachusetts, but we have the third largest city in the Commonwealth, and we have the most rural area with the largest number of rural communities that have very unique challenges.
He says this stems from a multitude of factors, including lack of economic opportunities in our region to earn a living wage and support a family.
We need more investments, resources, and policies to support working families and those families who are underemployed or cannot work.
And of course, a spike in inflation is only making it harder and harder to put food on the table. The study found that overall food insecurity is still nearly 70% higher than before the pandemic. Morehouse adds that Black and Brown communities are lagging behind even further when it comes to food insecurity, and the study echoes that. It found that adults of color continue to face outsized level of food insecurity, breaking down to 61% of Hispanic households and 50% of Black households. As for what's being done to address this,
legislators in Western Massachusetts, and for that matter, many across the Commonwealth, are very aware of this, and they are advocating hard for investments in programs and strategies and changes in public policy to address the obstacles that families who are facing food insecurity need to be able, or need to overcome, to be able to move past food insecurity.
He adds that a new state budget is currently being ironed out for the 2024 fiscal year. Reporting for Western Mass News, I'm Reagan Lockery.